6.
Alright, let's take a look at that. So this can be either first or second lap. I think it depends on the track temp. As you can see here, my lap was kind of shaded. This particular test session had a pretty low track temp. I did another test session that was at 120 degrees. This was only at 110. So be careful of what the track temp of the qual session is, and kind of use that as a baseline, because this will be about a tenth, maybe tenth and a half quicker than 120 degree track temp. So anyways, with that being said, we're going to do our outlap here, and my whole goal of the outlap is just to get my car rotated as quick as possible without bogging the car down, so that I can get back on the gas and kind of build my momentum. So the bogging RPMs here is about 5K. You don't want to go below 5K ever. And I do that, and I'm able to straighten it off the corner here. So I'll take a look at that one more time. So you see I kind of pivot it about halfway through the corner and then really get aggressive on the throttle. And then I'm able to straighten my wheel out under this throttle, get maybe a little bit loose, but it's okay. And then I'm able to carry a lot of speed at the start finish line. So turn 1 here, we actually brake really early. So if you watch my short track video on my main channel, you'll see the telltale signs of 2 steps of braking: braking to slow down and braking to rotate. The reason that I had a little pump there was because my car was starting to step out a little bit, so I was really on the edge of what brake bias I needed to be using. So anywhere 61 to like 65 is all fine. So my line here, I want to start way outside, and I'm aiming for the first lane. So like the first white dash lines between the first and second lane. I get a little bit below there actually at first. So kind of like on this seam here, but you don't want to get to the bottom too quickly, because you see this really sharp turn here. You really don't want to hit that bottom too quickly, or else you're going to have to really adjust your line. And you don't want to have to like make all those changes mid-corner. So at the point where I make that little seam there, I switch from dragging my brake into partial throttle. And then I just hold this partial throttle for a little bit, but then I notice that if the car is like coming down the hill, so you see it'll come towards the white line, I go from partial throttle, and then once my car is about to make that apex at the white line, I go full throttle. And because this is the truck, you can be kind of aggressive with it. The truck, you can be more aggressive than the Xfinity car or the ARCA car, for example. So on a qual lap like this, once I kind of hit that apex, or about to hit the apex, I force it into full throttle and just drive it straight up the corner, and it might get a little loose, but it should be fine. I'll take a look at that one more time. No slow motion, or no stopping, still slow motion. So brake to rotate, get it down to the seam. Once you're about to hit the apex, you force it with the throttle on the wheel. Don't do that in long run, but do that in qualifying. Then drive it up to the wall. Keep it straight. All right, now we're entering turn 3. Now this is going to be a very different line. I really want to get to the bottom here. I really tried this same lane here, but there's just bumps there, and it just doesn't feel fast to me. I even tried kind of like up here. It didn't feel fast to me. And because we're only going half the straightaway in North Wilkesboro to get back to the start-finish line, I just really like going to the bottom, even if it feels really bad down there. I just get kind of a late arc, and then get to the bottom. Don't touch the curb, but just hook it. Just get as close as possible, hook it as much as possible, and then just try to shortcut the exit. And whatever momentum you're able to carry, you're able to carry. So you can see here, if you get down too early, you'll have to get more time on the bottom, and it's not really a straight line. You're more getting to the bottom and then turning your wheel even more. I want to late apex this corner so that when I get to the bottom, I don't have to turn the wheel too much more, because that'll mean that I had like a straighter approach and kind of simplify the corner into a straighter line. So while I'm on this curb right here, I'm keeping it at partial throttle, because full throttle, the car would not like it there. And then you'll feel under that partial throttle that it starts to slide up a bit about right where the pit road starts. And as it's sliding up, you just gotta be patient on it, because if you go full throttle here, you're going to go straight towards the wall, and you're going to have to like slide your rears just to stay off of it, and that's slow. So you just got to be patient until you're almost at the exit of the corner, and then about like this white line right here, that's about the time where you can just full gas it off the corner regardless of your angle. It'll get a little loose, but you've already shortcutted the corner so much compared to the other lines that you're not giving that much back in this short amount of time. So put those two corners together and those two lines together and you can get a pretty good lap. All right, now let's look at the long run. All right, let's do a bit of a long run here. So a couple things to talk about here is that this track is going to actually kill your tires, especially your right front, if you don't approach it right, because it's very easy to overdrive the car and just really use more wheel than you have to. So you might want to give up some short-term speed for long run goals. Now in C-Fix, that's not always the right thing to do because there are just tons and tons of cautions here, but that's okay. That's kind of up to you to decide the vibe of the race. Here I'm just kind of showing you what you want to do to just be saving your tires. So I'm really just minimizing my wheel input and not trying to force my full throttle too early. So dragging the brake, going straight from brake to gas. If you watched my video on short tracks from last week, you'll see a lot of these kind of carry over even to this. I'm just trying to navigate a line to where I'm missing as many bumps as possible. 1 and 2, I kind of find that it's just running the second groove kind of all the way around, kind of parking the car middle of the corner, maybe getting a bit of a late apex. See a little bit loose there. 3 and 4, kind of the same idea actually, but I really commit more to the lower if possible. See, I kind of missed. I got off the brake too early, and that made me miss the bottom. Excuse me. The worst thing you can do if you have a line like that is add more wheel to try to force it. So you kind of see how I kind of bailed from it and took a slow corner over just destroying the tires. Here, I'll brake even more, and now I finally made the bottom. And it's a lot better. But if you're going and missing a corner, the steering wheel should not be the answer to hitting your perfect line, because you'll be doing that in expense of a ton of your tires. So here, brake, brake, brake. I'm just holding the brake until I make the bottom. And this is going to be relatively good on the tires. 2/10 off of like my best lap, but I feel like that's pretty darn serviceable for a short track. I can't imagine. It's going to be really easy to pass here on the long run if you ever get a long run. On the short run, it's just not that easy to pass though. Cars are still kind of even, and the tire fall off will happen sooner than you think. So, as you can see, running consistent laps, not doing too much to the tires, don't overdrive your corners like I did there. I do not want to be cranking the wheel like I was for that entire corner. That's kind of the worst case scenario. So just be disciplined with where you're taking your entries, and just make sure to drag your brake until you're able to hit the line that you want to hit. Show it again here. Hopefully this is a better lap for you guys. You see, I'm just dragging it all the way through. You see how it feels like you're going to lose a ton of time, but it ends up not being the case, especially if you don't kind of script exit like I did there. Oh, it's starting to get loose now on the right rear. Right rear is starting to get hot. So once that happens, now we got to be really careful on the throttle as well. So now we're going to implement that rule that I said, no full throttle until the wheel goes straight. So I was kind of breaking that rule a little bit because the truck is notoriously kind of grounded. But now that we're getting a little bit of heat in our tires, now that rule goes into effect as well. So make sure not to go full throttle later in the run, past a few laps, until your steering wheel is completely straight. Oop, I say that. I kind of broke my own rule. But you see, it's all about being disciplined. So you see, when you're not disciplined, you get punished for it, and this is kind of a good showcase of that. And so as the tires go away, there'll be more and more a test of discipline, not over driving. Braking early enough, braking long enough, getting back to the gas immediately, but holding the partial for as long as you can, and then full throttle. And so you see the tires are really starting to go at this point of the run, and they'll just be more and more like that. So the more that you're saving at the beginning of the run, the more that you'll kind of gap people at the end of the run, because you see already there was a lot of fall off there. So even in just a quick 11 laps, we're already at 96.96, which is huge for a short track. So just be really careful on your tires. Good even wear, probably a little more right rear wear than I would have wanted, and then some mess ups in the right front too. Probably could have ended up with about 1% more than that, but that's a good baseline for you guys. So hopefully you guys all have fun here, and good luck out there.